Welcome to Business Talk, Sister Gawk. I'm Becca.
And I'm Ruthie.
And today we are doing part 4 of our series on different startup tools and tips to getting your business off the ground for incredibly cheap or free. So today we're going to be specifically talking about screen sharing, video conferencing, business phone numbers, and design help. So the first category within that, screen sharing and video conferencing. So if you are starting a business where you're going to need to be meeting with people and networking, you're going to need something that allows you to do that, especially if they are in a different state or even a far away drive just within one city. It's more efficient, right? A couple different things that we like for that. So join.me we really like because this is a free tool for screen sharing. If you just want to show your screen and you can call that person and talk with them on the phone as you're doing that, they can see your screen on their computer. Sends them a little customizable link. Actually, it's just a regular link. If you want to pay, you get the customizable one with your name. Really not necessary for the most part. I really like it. I've used it quite a few times on different things. Also, you can find all of the links to these different tools on our tools and tips page of our website, businesstalksistergawk.com. So the next one we really like that is video conferencing is Zoom.
So Zoom is similar to Join.me. I like it a little bit better because it has a little bit more versatility, and you can link it with different services like Calendly, which we talked about in our last episode. You can also use Join.me with Calendly, but I personally like Zoom better. One reason why I like it a little bit better is because, one, their customer service is nicer. But also, I just have found it to be very easy, especially if you're going to be doing like hosting a webinar or something like that. It's a lot easier to just engage. Join.me also has a webinar feature that you can use as well, I believe.
But I think those are both paid options. So
well, okay, so with Zoom you can have multiple people. Yeah, the webinar is a paid option, but you can have multiple people that call in on your meeting, which is really nice, and you can see all their little faces to the side. One drawback of it is that only one person can share their screen at a time. With the next tool that we're going to talk about, Google Hangouts, you can actually have multiple people sharing their screen at once. So say if Becca and I were on a phone call and I shared my screen, she couldn't see my face anymore, but she could see my screen, whereas Zoom, you can see everybody's faces, but you can only see one screen at a time.
Yeah, so what we like about Zoom is that you can use it pretty intuitively. If you're sending it to an audience of a lot of older people, they usually have a pretty easy time of getting on, and there's not a ton of issues with it.
And it's really simple to set up too.
Yeah, and you send them a link to the meeting, and then boom, you're basically
And they don't
started.
even have to have an account to be able to log in, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's free for meetings up to 40 minutes, which is perfect for a half-hour meeting with a little bit extra wiggle room in case you need it to wrap up.
And it will kick you off if you are not done in 40 minutes.
So that's embarrassing. So
be
really,
done in 40 minutes.
It's also a good accountability tool for you if people are paying you for that time, and you got to make sure that you're respectful of that. So Google Hangouts was the other one we talked about. Disadvantage of Google Hangouts is that you have to share your Gmail with that person, and then basically you can use it through like the little side chat feature as well. You can video conference with them, share the screen, all that. It's absolutely free. There's no time limit, which is really nice. I think Google has actually been rolling out a few more features within that, so be watching for what that will look like, because I know that they're trying to get more into the video conferencing game to compete within that. So definitely try it out, test it before you actually do a meeting with someone.
Yeah. So the disadvantage is it's a little bit more difficult to set it up. So if you're just going to ask someone to jump on a Google Hangouts call, they have to actually have a Google account and things like that.
Which can be really awkward if they're like Microsoft users or something.
True. Or just old and they don't have Gmail or something.
Okay, come on. They can be young too and just not knowledgeable
true.
on that.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We're not going to be ageist
here.
Okay, so FaceTime is another one. If you both have iPhones, it's a really fast way to talk to people. And especially, so I use this a lot with extended family members that like help with different things around me, because it's like, hey, I'm going to buy this. Is this beneficial? They can just FaceTime you really quick. But you both have to have iPhones. So there's that. Okay, Facebook video calling. This is an excellent feature for video chatting if you are already connected through Facebook Messenger. The disadvantage of this is that you cannot video conference people outside of your direct friends. And for some businesses, this is really not an okay thing to do on your personal Facebook, right? So pick your friends wisely if you're going to use this feature. But for other businesses, it is completely normal to be talking with your friends because, I mean, maybe you're like counseling them or something like that. It depends on the type of counseling, though, too. Because
Or,
seriously, if you're like a professional
coaching, things like that.
counselor, you probably should not have them as your friend. It's a little bit weird. Okay, so free business phone numbers is our next category. We know that sometimes setting up a business, you're like, oh my goodness, the cost of overhead for getting another phone number is so high, which it is if you're going to sign up through like Verizon or AT&T or something. But Google Voice is absolutely free. It's an app and it uses voice over IP, which is basically like you're calling via the internet. Basically the same thing as all the different video conferencing, except for it's just through your phone, right? And only your voice, right? Not video. You can also use WhatsApp. That has a phone number that comes with it. A really effective way to talk with people, especially internationally. Both of those we like because they're absolutely free.
And really, really simple to set up. With Google Voice, it's really nice because you can just go and you just have to have a Google account, and then it sends you a text just to make sure that the phone number that you're setting it up on, you actually do have a legitimate phone number, and it just kind of like, so then when an incoming phone call comes in, you can set it up so that you know if it's coming from your business line. So then you just know like, oh, I should be answering this as a business and not just as my personal phone number, which is really convenient.
Yeah, so the nice thing about that too is that if you have a Google account that you've set up for multiple people within your business, they can all access that phone number and see what messages people have left. It also sends you an email transcript of the voicemail they've left you, and that can go to multiple people as well. So really keeping everyone on the same page with customer service is really helpful. WhatsApp, not as functional as Google Voice in that way, but it's still a really good thing to have if you are looking at talking with people regularly, and it's probably more common that people use WhatsApp as well. Yeah. So within the design category, I know so many people are always like, oh, I need design help. Well, these are the free things that we love. The first one is Canva. If you have ever used a freemium platform, which is basically free, but you have to pay for the premium, right? Canva is one of those. So you can get a lot of free design graphics and a lot of pre-templated things, as well as different sizing formats for absolutely free to use. We really like it for making different things that are preset. So like say you're going to do a postcard or something. They have really great tools for that. I've done posters from there. It's pretty fun.
Or even just a social post. They have like all the sizing that you need for Instagram or for Facebook to make it sure that if you were to make an image, then it actually shows up the whole image on your post and things like that because they have the sizing all down, which is really convenient.
Yes, it's so nice. A competitor to that, also really great, is Crello. Well, again, these are all linked on our website under the tools and tips page. So definitely check that out. What I like about Crello is that there's a lot of different tools within it that you can, same with Canva, you can upload your own photos. So you can use those instead of the ones that are like within the background of what's already there. It's pretty easy to change all the colors to your branding, and just keep designing from there really quickly. I like that you can download in a PNG as well as a JPEG. If you don't know the difference, PNG is probably a little bit more crisp, but JPEG is a smaller file size and easier to download. Like say, if you're putting it on a web page, it's going to make the web page load a lot faster than a PNG. So depending on what you're using the photo for, you might want to download in different formats.
And Crello is a little bit nicer in that it you can organize things nicely. Like if you add a whole bunch of images in, then you can organize them in folders and things, whereas Canva doesn't have that. But I think that Canva has a nicer user interface personally. I think it's easier to use and a little more intuitive. Crello is also nice, but it kind of you have to play around with it a little bit more to get more comfortable with it. But they both have equally good quality. So in the things that you can make with them.
Yeah, and so now we're going to talk a little bit about places to get photos for your design. Within that, we really like Pixabay. because so the big thing about free photos you need to pay attention to within searching for those, because there's tons of sites that have them, but are they for commercial use or personal use, right? If they're free for commercial use, it means you can use it for your business. The nice thing about Pixabay specifically is that they have the ability to download different pixel sizes of the same photo so that you don't have to do all of that resizing yourself. Because I know sometimes if I'm just going to use a small photo, I'm not going to upload something that's like 12,000 pixels by 12,000 or whatever. I want something a little smaller, so I'm going to have to upload it to like a different tool like Trello and then shrink it and then download it again, whatever. So, but it's nice because it has those different sizes already there. And then I really also like that they have quite a variety of photos, and you don't have to give any, like, there's nothing required of you. You can just use them for whatever you want. You can edit them. You can add stuff to them. If you do give a shout out to the author, so this is a really good place if you're supposed to want, or say you want to become more of a well-known photographer, you can put free license-free photos on here for people to use to get your name out there. And a lot of times people will actually, especially in their like Facebook posts, credit the author of the photo originally, and you get more credibility, more exposure. So it's a good place to get a backlink if you're trying to increase your optimization as a business for photography. So we really like that one. Reshot is another place that also has free stock photos. The difference I want to say in my personal experience I've seen between the two of these is that Reshot allows you to only download one really large file size, but it's excellent image quality. So I like that. And I like that it doesn't make you download or not download, but you have to, in Pixabay, you have to check off this little CAPTCHA security setting. And if you download too many photos too fast, they're like, whoa, you're a bot. And then they make you do all this extra CAPTCHA security to say, yes, I see the traffic light and do a bunch more stuff to prove you're not a robot. So Reshot's a little bit faster in that sense if you're going to get a bunch of photos. I also think that Reshot has more eclectic pieces than Pixabay. So Pixabay is a lot more stock photo, and then Reshot's way more indie artist, I think, in some categories. So if you're really doing something unique and you really want some funky photos, especially with people, BT dubs, you should really consider photos of people's faces and hands and whatever else you're doing for your product, because that psychologically increases the functionality or people engaging with that content. We've looked in a lot of data on that, and that's important. So definitely get some free photos of people, because if you don't have them and you take your own, you're going to have to do a whole bunch of liability waivers to make sure that you can use them for commercial use, and people are signing off saying that you can use their face, right?
Or you can just take pictures of yourself, which is, it looks a little bit conceited actually if you have all just you all over your website.
Yeah. So it depends on what you're using it for, right? Okay. So those are the different ones that we really like. Another one Ruthie has, she's going to tell you about.
So Pexels is similar to Pixabay. I really like it because it has, it's similar in a lot of different ways, and you can use them for commercial use and things like that. There's also different ways that you can create things in something called Google Draw, which is really nice. If you create something in there, then you can, a lot of times you can look specifically on they have a little thing where you can search images that can be used for commercial use, and then you don't have to figure out any of that paperwork and stuff. You can just create something in Google Draw, and a lot of times I will pull images from either Pixabay or Reshot or Pexels and then put them in Google Draw and then customize them in there. If I want to, if there's some functionality that I can't find in Canva or Trello, I'll make it in Google Draw, download it, and then upload it into Trello or Canva, which is just another tool that you can use that kind of help you just get a little bit more customization, which is nice. But
yeah, the nice thing I like about Google Draw in comparison to the other two is that I know in Trello and Canva, a lot of times when you try to do a backgroundless photo, you have to pay for it. But Google Draw allows you to take out the background of a photo, and that's really helpful sometimes. Also, eBay has started doing backgroundless photos with this new feature in their app. I don't know if you've looked at that at all, but if you're going to sell something on there, like, you just take pictures of it on like a solid background and they remove the background for you. I personally think it's a little bit tacky in the way that but I mean, it's free, so why not, right?
Yeah.
So those are the different features of free design. We love hearing from you guys if you find really cool ones that you want to share with us. So definitely send us more information about things that you've liked. Check out all those different categories. So the thing that we're going to talk about today as our interesting Gawk is Ruthie's embarrassing moment with the dragonfly.
Probably my most embarrassing moment of my whole life. So we were at
Your whole life.
Honestly, it was. Well, now that I think about it, it's not as embarrassing, but like at the time, it was like easily this surpasses anything that has ever happened to me ever. So I was at a concert for children. It was a little kids concert, and I was there with my younger brother, and I was in the very front because he wanted to be all up in that music jazz business. It was not jazz, it was children's music anyway. So then I was standing up there, and something that you should
I'm just imagining you like 2 feet taller than every other little child there. Like I'm just imagining, like Will Ferrell and like all those things with like the little elves and like so much taller. That's
okay.
you.
No,
Okay,
there was
sorry.
definitely parents there, so I wasn't like towering above.
But you were definitely in the midst of a sea of small
That's
children in
true.
the front.
Yeah,
In the
so
front, yeah.
I was in the front, and one thing that you should probably know about me as context for this story is that I hate bugs a lot. They freak me out. I hate spiders. Anyway, so while I was just innocently watching this concert, trying to keep
I
tabs,
witnessed this. So
I
it's good.
looked down, and there was this massive dragonfly stuck to my shirt. Like its little nasty paws, or whatever you want to call them, tentacles or whatever, were like interwoven into my shirt. So when I started freaking out and like flailing around and screaming, the little guy just hung on for dear life. And I was like panicking. And
Okay, but the best part about this is that like it's trying to fly away the whole time, and it's like flapping its wings. Also, it's beautiful. But I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was beautiful.
It
Like,
actually had like neon green eyes and like this teal blue body.
oh, it was gorgeous.
It was insane.
If you were to like, bug collectors would have gone wild over this.
Yeah.
Let's
So
be real.
while I'm having this one woman mosh pit by myself,
amongst a sea of children
there's
that
just
she's
kinda
2 feet taller than.
this circle that forms because everybody's like
It's like
children,
spread the Red Sea
pulling
apart.
their children away from me.
Parents
So
are like, what is with this crazed
and
woman?
I could see, and finally it just flies away, and I was free, and I'm sweating like crazy, and I just put my arms down and was like just trying to breathe it off, and all of a sudden Becca looks at me and just kind of points. And I looked down, and the little guy was back, and he was stuck to my shirt again. And I was like, ah! And then I think the best part about this is I looked up, and literally the person singing is like singing and kind of looking at the crowd and then doing this little like side eye, like looking at me, watching me panic. And then kind of you could see him just walk to the other side of the stage because I was on like the right side, so he went like far left, like detract as much attention from me as possible.
But like, if you didn't know what was happening, like if you didn't see the dragonfly and you were just like a parent bringing your child to this concert, it literally was at the very start of the concert. So, like, it literally just looked like suddenly they get on stage, they get introduced, and she is like this mass, crazy, insane fan. And she's like, yes! And so excited.
But I wasn't excited.
No.
I was terrified.
No, she was not. But it was so funny.
Yeah. And so basically, it finally flew away, and lo and behold, we had backstage passes to this concert.
About that.
With this concert, and so I'm just standing there the whole rest of the concert, just sweating like a little panicked person. I don't know.
She gets
so,
really sweaty.
Yeah,
when
I
she
freak
gets
out.
nervous.
And when I get nervous or embarrassed, I just can't help it. It's like the floodgates are open, and so I'm just standing there the whole rest of the time, thinking like all these people just saw me freak out and scream, and they don't even know why. And anyway, so then finally the concert is over, we go and get in this line, and my dad, we bought the tickets, so I had to stay in line, and I literally was like
So
this is the worst thing in my whole life.
I would have just owned it. Like,
this is a
"Hello, I
bad
am
dream
your
that
super
just
fan."
keeps going. Just there's no end. And then we stood there, and he just kind of looked at me, and I looked at him, and then I looked down, and I did not make eye contact with him again.
Did he sign your stuff?
He did, yeah, he did. And then I didn't say anything else to him. My dad thought it was hilarious.
I too thought it was.
I didn't think it was hilarious.
I don't know how you. I didn't have a backstage pass, but you guys did.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was pretty much one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. And if it was caught on video, I would like to say that should probably be burned. So.
All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.